today and have the privilege of introducing my lifelong friend, Harold Givens. Harold is not with us because he went on to receive his heavenly reward this past December. However, for those who knew Harold, he will always remain in our hearts. Harold and I actually grew up together in the same neighborhood. By junior high school, however, he was no longer hanging out with us during those long summer months. I came to find out that he would get up before sunrise and he would ride his bike almost 10 miles to Southern Hills Country Club, where he was a caddy. Back in the mid-60s, during those long summers on the golf course, Harold met a lot of successful businessmen, which later became good friends, great clients, and wonderful friends that proved to be very beneficial throughout his life. His caddying job allowed him to save enough money to start his very first business at age 16, a professional photographer. Not only did Harold take pictures, he also set up a studio in his garage and had a dark room, so he developed all of his own pictures. Now, with digital pictures today, you may not know about that developing process, but it was very involved. While here at Will Rogers, Harold was involved in a variety of clubs. He was always honing his skills, and he took advantage of every opportunity that came along. So I challenge you to do that. I will mention one of his awards while here was the Top Achievers Award, which was for excellent achievement and outstanding school service. I believe it was Harold's dedication to the school and his determination to succeed that allowed him to always rise to the top, and that set his course for life. So it's been no surprise to me that Harold went on to receive many awards and recognitions during his lifetime. After attending the University of Tulsa, he served as the photographer for the Tulsa Tribune. He became a police officer serving the people of Tulsa. He owned his own ice cream store in Brookside, and he started a two-way communications company. Then in 1991, he founded Image Electronics, which he owned and managed up until last year. In 1979, I got a call from Harold telling me that he was putting together a slide presentation for our 10-year reunion. He asked where I worked and if it would be okay for him to come by and take a picture of me for the slideshow. As soon as I shared with him what the little lighthouse was all about, he immediately said, "What can I do to help?" Harold Givens was a giver. He acknowledged that God gave him his remarkable gifts, and he took those gifts and he gave them back to God and to the world. Even at the end of his life, when he was overcome by ALS, he was still shouting to the world through his photography and his inspirational poems. So even in the last year of his life, Harold kept on giving. Harold was a very humble man. He will always be remembered for his integrity, his dedication, honesty, commitment, and his servant's heart. And I just want to say it was quite challenging for his family to come up with pictures for this presentation because he was always the man behind the camera. So on behalf of all of our class of 1969, his family and friends, I just want to tell you that Harold would be very honored today, and thank you that he is now a part of the Will Rogers Hall of Fame.
Harold Givens was born July 22, 1951. He graduated from Will Rogers High School in 1969 and studied photography at the University of Tulsa. He married Debbie Endries in 1973. His lifelong photography career began at age 16. Later, a technician and photographer for the traveling music group Spurlows, one of his favorite memories was their performance at the White House for President Nixon and 101 wounded Vietnam veterans on Thanksgiving Day, 1970. Harold was also a photographer for the Metropolitan Tulsa Chamber of Commerce and joined the staff of the Tulsa Tribune after they saw photos he took at an Elvis concert. A motorcycle cop for the Tulsa Police Department for 4 years, Harold also owned several successful businesses. his greatest contribution to his community was as a volunteer with nonprofit organizations, namely the Little Lighthouse and Leadership Tulsa.
33 years ago, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a young mom couldn't find help for her daughter, who was born with a visual impairment. She understood that early intervention was critical, so she did the only thing she could. She prayed. Out of those prayers and her deep faith emerged a program for disabled children that could be a model for communities across the land. It is called the Little Lighthouse. It provides a wide range of in-depth therapeutic services for preschool children with disabilities. The services are free of charge, and they refuse to accept government funding or United Way support. Why? Because free of government regulation, they have found new and innovative ways to help the most challenged young people in our society.
Harold's relationship with the Little Lighthouse began in 1979 when he volunteered his services as a photographer. He continued helping in various ways as a member of the board of directors and remaining a faithful supporter for 35 years. In 2009, he received the Paragon Award from Leadership Tulsa for his 35 years of service to the Little Lighthouse. Harold had been selected for Leadership Tulsa in 2002. Harold was a leader among leaders. Last year, Leadership Tulsa instituted a very special award to be given to honor those individuals who, through exemplary service, have demonstrated the heart of Leadership Tulsa and its tenets of servant leadership. This award is named after Harold Givens, who became its first recipient.
Harold Givens, a former photographer and business owner, is living with ALS, a deadly disease that paralyzes the muscles in the body.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with his brain, except that it stops communicating with the muscles.
Givens' wife of 41 years, Debbie Givens, says since Harold was diagnosed, he's lost his ability to walk, speak.
Right now he can use this iPad because he has use of his hands, or his cell phone with an app that will speak for him.
The couple is thrilled that donations to the ALS Association have skyrocketed this year and that the Ice Bucket Challenge is raising awareness.
I was glad to see Garth Brooks involved since I had worked on his home.
And while he loved watching all the videos, Harold hopes money raised will support research to find a cure for the deadly disease he is battling. Yeremi Farinas, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Even as Harold's health was declining rapidly, he continued to support the charities that became dear to him over the years. Always civic-minded, Harold had been a stalwart model of giving back to one's community quietly but with joy, building friendships while providing leadership. Harold died on December 19, 2014, at age 63. Accepting on behalf of her husband, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Debbie Givens.
Just a second. It's pretty emotional to see for the first time. If Harold saw a need anywhere and he didn't know how to do it or fill that position, he would learn. Because of this, he had a broad spectrum of talents, so many talents. And he always gave his 100% best in everything he did. Just like learning photography at age 16, becoming a professional. He believes so much in the nonprofits. And by the way, Tulsa has a lot of nonprofits that help people. And he helped them in any way he can, any way he could. When we had a youth group puppet team, just as an example, at church, I couldn't just have a puppet show. Next thing I knew, we had spotlights, backdrops, props, and professional sound, and we looked like the Muppet Show when we would put on shows. He never seemed to tire of whatever he was doing. He never complained. He was a focused, determined problem solver. He loved his time at Rogers. I was in the class of 1970, and I saw him everywhere, taking pictures, singing, cheerleading, receiving the Tower Award, but we didn't meet till we were at TU. And we both had to work our way through the university. And that's when we got married. If Harold could tell you one thing today, it would be don't let anyone or anything stand in the way of your dream, including self-doubt. Push forward. He would also say that service to others is essential to self-fulfillment. Harold wanted to make a difference in the world, and I'm proud to say that he accomplished that goal. Thank you.